we are here to talk all about team principles and I guess the pressures, the roller coaster, and having a leadership role within a team where it is all about crossing that line first. It's a massive job, and you've all done it for decades. And I'm not quite sure how you've managed to keep your nervous system intact. So, Gunther, let's start with you, because I'm sure you've got so many incredible stories. But talk to us about the pressure that you're under.
I mean, it's very difficult to explain. I would explain the job as a team principal to start off with is like being a CEO of a big company, but a CEO in a small company with a lot of things going on. And the big difference is to a big company, the time pressure in Formula One or in racing. Not only Formula One, everything you're always judged by your last race. If you work for a corporate, you've got the results coming in, your financial results every 3 months, and then you gain another 3 months. In racing, there is no mercy for you. If you have a bad result on Monday, you will know about it, and you better fix it, you know. So that is the most difficult thing to deal with it. But as you can see here, my colleagues here, you get used to it, because normally you don't start off as a team principal. You know, going through the ranks in motorsport, you grow and you get used to it. And at a certain stage, you don't realize anymore that you are used to it, that you can deal with it, because you're just getting used to it. You know, if something is wrong, you need to deal with it. You cannot wait for the next board meeting. You cannot wait to have big discussions. You need to make some decisions. And obviously, you always try to do it together with the team. But you always need to be on the ball. You never have, like, as a team principal, a day off means that you're not in the office, but it doesn't mean that your telephone is switched off, for example. You know, you still keep on doing it, you know. So it's one of these things. But nobody could do the team principal job in a racing team if he doesn't want to do it, because you really have to want to do it, because otherwise you wouldn't do it, because you don't need it, and you couldn't cope with it, and you wouldn't be there for long, because people would see that you're not good at it, because your heart is not in it. Half of it is what you do, and the rest is just passion and emotions, you know, you need to put into it. You cannot just run a company like and look at your result and say, yeah, we need to do this, and we wait a little bit. No. Because everybody's on you, inside the team and the public, you know, to give results on the next race. And the next race is just around the corner normally in racing. So that I think is the team principal job. But I think you can get used to it by growing into it. And then you don't realize it, and I just realize it now that I'm not a team principal anymore, how big the pressure was, you know, because you don't have it anymore. And all of a sudden you realize, actually, it was quite intense, but when you're in it, it's just normality, you know. You get up in the morning, the first thing you look is your emails and your WhatsApp messages. What has gone wrong in the last 12 hours while you slept? So that's what you do.
That's quite the good morning. You're like, oh. And Paddy, of course, from an engineering standpoint, you are managing people that, you know, are incredibly clever, at the forefront of developing technology, and yeah, you're managing a lot of expectation. So yeah, how do you go about that and keep everyone, like, you know, on some kind of level of happiness?
Well, yeah. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon rather. Yeah, like Gunther said, we always say that you're only as good as your last race. So there is that pressure all the time. And of course, you know it, the technical team know it. The worst thing, and you know this, Gunther, is when the team owner or somebody tells you your car isn't quick enough. And it's like, well,
They never say that, buddy. They never say that, buddy.
I did see the timesheet. You know, we don't need to be told that we got some work to do. The engineers tend to just keep quiet and get stuck in and get on with the job. You know, engineers are not emotional. I know one of my neighbours can get quite emotional from time to time, but it's not typical of.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm not typical. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. The engineers tend to get their head down, and they know what they need to do. But I mean, I remember years ago, beginning of my career with Williams, we'd won the first 5 races in that season with the Williams FW14, And I remember Patrick Head giving me a bollocking straight after the race because the tyres were blistered. And I was thinking, well, steady on. Can we just celebrate for 1 hour the fact that we've just won the first 5 races in a row, and we'll deal with those tyres. We still won the race. So I did have one of my things in the sport, always from that, because I wasn't quite as extreme as Patrick, is you do have to celebrate in the moment when you win a race or win something, because if you don't take 1 hour out or perhaps 1 day to celebrate, you never will, because the job has to keep going on. The only timeout which actually saved our lives, really, was the summer break. So about 20 years ago, they agreed a regulation that every team has to shut down for 2 weeks in August. Effectively, it's a full-on ceasefire. You cannot even send an email in that time. It's all checked and regulated. And that's been a fantastic thing for all of the people and the families, behind all of these teams, because literally for 2 weeks, you can switch off. And that, because at Christmas you can't, by the way, because there's not a shutdown. So you do have these clear 2 weeks when you can just relax, fully relax, and not have to monitor everything.
Yeah, I think you can never underestimate the power of shutting your laptop and not opening it again for a couple of weeks. That's
the amazing thing, to those of you who do work a lot in the office with email, you switch your computer on after 2 weeks, and there are literally no emails in your inbox. It's like you just left it and time stopped. It's really quite incredible.
You always worry, I still have got a job, there's no emails in there.
And it's also that now you're like, I can't remember any of my passwords. So you have to go back to square one to remember your password to even get back in the thing. Roland Dane, we are sitting in front of one of your beautiful Bathurst winners, and I want to talk about building a team from the ground up, because you started your team principal days back in British touring cars, and then you decided to come over here to Australia and launch the Supercars dream. So I pretty much owe a lot of my job to you. The fact that I'm still employed, thank you very much. But talk to us about the challenge of building a team from the ground up and getting everyone to believe in your vision that one day you'd be sitting here with just a whole office full of trophies.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. For me, coming to Australia 20 odd years ago and then starting from scratch here again, I think was probably the bravest and most stupid thing I've ever done, to come to such a touring car environment that was already way more professional, to be honest, than pretty much anything in Europe at the time. You could earn a proper living as a driver here, as a team here, in a way that was very unusual, NASCAR apart in the sort of tin top world. The biggest area of pressure to begin with was actually getting to the stage where you could win a race, and that took us just over 18 months or something to get us to the point where Craig Lowndes won the team our first race. And then we started competing for championships, and once you've won your first championship, the pressure then is to stay there. And I think the pressure, certainly the pressure for me as a team principal, was greater to maintain the momentum of the team, maintain the crew, and keep winning for year after year, and even when we didn't win, we came second. That was the real pressure, because the sponsors and the fans and everyone, they then expected it, and so the minute you faltered or looked like faltering, and the machine guns were out at the back pointing at you. As a team principal and a team, they couldn't wait to shoot you down. Australia is famous for having a bit of a tall poppy syndrome as well. So there was that pressure from that, and I mean, many of you will be familiar with the history of Triple Eight here, but I look at like one of those Jenga wooden block towers where I've had other teams try and take key people, like Adrian Burgess, 13, 12 years ago or something, when young Walkinshaw nicked him one day and thought he'd destroy Triple Eight, and then Penske thought he'd destroy Triple Eight by taking Ludo Lacroix. And then I retired a couple of years ago, but is still winning. And that, to me, is the greatest achievement for me personally, but also for a team principal to actually keep the show going at that level is what I'm most proud of.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Thank you very much. Gunther, I feel like you and we can lighten the mood a little bit. We're not going to talk about the pressures now. We're not going to talk about the stress now. We're going to talk about the celebrations. What makes a really great celebration in F1?
I think the celebration is when you achieve something you didn't expect to achieve, and then you just, it's the joy to have achieved something, which is fantastic. And I just want to add what Roland said is, as a team principal or whatever, you're responsible for a lot of people which work for you, and that pressure is also pretty high, because if you don't perform, you know that there's a lot of families living off that, what you're doing and how you're leading them. And it's very important that, I forgot to say that in the beginning, it's very important to me when you do your job, you're not only responsible for your job, you're responsible for hundreds of people, you know, and then you don't actively think about it, but it's true, you know, everybody is like, and that's what we do it as well, to make everybody, give them a future. So back to the celebration, you know, happier things to say. You know, celebrations are like, I didn't have a lot in the last year, so I think there is better people which won a lot to explain them, you know, so, but anyway, in racing, as soon as you've got the result, you really enjoy. It's just like joy, nothing else for me. I don't need a big party or anything. It's just inside. It's like we achieved something. A lot of people, a group of people achieved something with the best you could get out of it, or even more.
And Paddy, highlights for you. I think there'd be so many, but I would love to know what comes to mind first.
Yeah, I think the one that really comes to mind, partly because it was also extremely traumatic. So if you go back to 2007, we were in Brazil, final race, and we missed the championship with both of our drivers. Lewis's car temporarily stopped in the race, and he dropped from the front to midfield, and he managed to recover, but just not enough. And we had both drivers 1 point off world champion. Imagine how tough that is to go through, to have both drivers runner-up by 1 point. So we come back the next year, and rain, you know, comes very late in the race, and the Toyota cars take a gamble to stay out on the dry tyres, and that became very cruel, because then again, as it was picked, we were going to miss it again by 1 point. And I went through a terrible minute, or 5 minutes really, where I thought, I'm going to give up this sport, because this is just not fair, you know, to come so close again and so cruelly robbed just by a light shower of rain and a team that was able to take a gamble on that. And then, of course, Felipe crossed the line, the Ferrari cheering, they'd won the championship, and then Lewis came through from the... We all remember the moment. Poor old Timo got all the stick for that, but, you know, in reality, it was the weather. We had this historic situation where two teams thought they'd won the championship at once, the same time. I don't think I've ever seen that in international sport ever before. The great thing, obviously, for us, and the great emotion was to come through and win. Felt so badly for Felipe and his dad, of course, to the very famous videos we have of Felipe's dad turning from joy to despair. So it was a terrible moment in sporting history, but I feel lucky to come through that as having led that at the end.
Yeah, wow. Gosh, look.
But I couldn't go, I mean, I didn't go back to Brazil the next year because I felt like that was a plane crash. I'd survived a plane crash. You know, I needed a break.
Yeah, PTSD from that one. Roland Dane, let's talk about managing drivers, because you've had some doozies, let's put it that way. Of course, Jamie Whincup, the most successful supercars driver in terms of championships of all time, and now Jamie's gone on to be, team principal himself, which is wonderful to see a great transition from driver through to team management. But also Shane van Gisbergen, who is not only an incredible talent, but he's known for being a little bit tricky to manage. And you brought him up through the ranks, really?
Well, in Shane's case, other people had done a bit of the work beforehand, Stone Brothers, and then a good friend of mine, Steve Hallam, with Techno for a couple of years before Shane came to Triple Eight, so to finishing school, as it were. But Triple Eight Australia has had remarkably few drivers over the years, something that I've always been proud of, and even today, 20 years later, Craig Lowndes is still a Triple Eight driver. And he was the first person I persuaded, sold the dream to, during 2004 to come and drive for Triple Eight. And that's why I was determined that we kept him in my tenure as team principal for as long as we possibly could, and he's still there. Jamie was a driver who hadn't quite made it. He'd had a couple of years in supercars and nobody saw the talent. And to be honest, I didn't see the talent until we tested him one day at Queensland Raceway. And suddenly we realized, looking at the brake trace, what we'd got. And we nurtured him ever since. And for me, you've got all these people behind the scenes. You've got all these sponsors. You've got all the people in the team, small by the standards of F1, but big by the standards of local motorsport. And those people have got a driver at the top of the pyramid, the nut behind the wheel. And it's in everyone's interest to look after that person, to look after and nurture that driver. If you believe in the driver and you show your belief in the driver right the way through the team, you'll get more out of them. And that's my belief. That's why the turnover of drivers at Triple Eight has been so small, and why I've been able to get away with paying them less than the market value. Not that they knew it at the time. Jamie only discovered it when he took the keys to the building and looked in the drawer. And but they all made good bonus money. They're on bonus structures, but really, it was about nurturing the drivers. And I know, some teams here in our neck of the woods haven't always done that with drivers, but I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of even young Brock Feeney coming from picking him out when he was 17 years old and seeing the potential in him. To develop him through Super 2, and Red Bull locally didn't want to back me on that, and I had to ring up Austria one day and ask them to sidestep the local Red Bull people here and give permission to bring Brock through the junior series into supercars. And I have to say, Thomas Uberl, who's right up there in the Red Bull hierarchy, backed me all the way, and I'm forever grateful for their support for helping me nurture Brock.
I bet they're not mad about that decision anymore.
They love him now.
Well, I think, gentlemen, if you're up for it, I reckon we should maybe take a few questions from the audience. How do we feel about that? Audience, do we have any burning questions? Oh, yep, hands straight up there. Quickly, while I run over, though, and hopefully not trip on something, managing personalities, Mr. Personality Gunther Steiner, managing a personality in a race team, what's that like?
Difficult, to say the least.
Sir, fire away with your name and your question, please.
My name's John. This is particularly for Gunther. We've heard K-Mag's side of the story. Can you tell us what it was like to let him know he got his seat back? Because that was a great moment for us.
It was easier than to tell him the year before he lost his seat, So, no, it is one of these things when what happened. We didn't have a lot of choices at the time. We needed a fast reaction, a fast decision, and it was just one of these things. Let's phone him up. What is he doing? And as well, he was straight onto it, saying yeah. And obviously, we hadn't spoken because he had a contract with Peugeot to drive in the WEC for a few years, and we didn't even. At the time, he said yes. He didn't even spoke with them, so he said, I need to sort this one out now. But obviously, he knew his contract, that if he gets an F1 seat, he can get out of it. not for free, but anyway, nothing is for free in racing. So, but it was one of these moments you don't think you enjoy it. You just need a driver and you know who you want and you just go for it, This is what we have to do, and we got it done.
So when you've got to tell a driver that they're going to lose their seat, what do you say what's the pep talk that you give yourself before that conversation?
I don't give myself a pep talk. I just say, okay, this I have to do today, and tonight I need to be done. But obviously, you think about what you're going to say, and you're just brutally honest with him. Why the team has decided to change driver, And obviously, that the reaction will be normally it's not hooray, I'm out of here. It's like I lost an F1 seat. There's not many around. So you just deal with their reaction. But normally, when you have a driver a few years, you know his character, and you can actually, how he's going to react, So, and when I had to let Romain and Kevin go, I told them, guys, maybe you don't want to be there next year. And 2 years later, they came back to me and said, you were actually right. Thanks God we weren't there that year.
Congratulations, you're very brave standing up here. Well done. Please tell us your name and fire away the question.
My name's Zara, and I was wondering what pathways you took to become team principals.
Yeah, good question. And I'm sure the answer's different for every individual. You come across people that you read about who said, I knew from the age of 6 that I wanted to be Prime Minister or whatever. They had this plan. For me, nothing was ever visible. I don't know how I got here. I just got step by step. It was never my dream to be a team principal or technical director. It's just one day, I just kept climbing the ladder, and that opportunity opened up. I always pushed myself to get to that extra step, but I never thought more than, those single steps. I didn't think of the whole ladder. But I'm sure different people, they do say you never get to anywhere unless you've got a plan. If you set a plan out, then you're going to achieve it. But actually, in terms of my career, there was never a plan. So, I don't know. In my work, I always think I need a plan, but I never had a plan for my career. I have no great solid advice on the subject.
Roland?
Yeah. One of the best initiatives we've got in Australia for trying to demonstrate career opportunities at all levels, especially for females, is the Girls on Track setup, which is FIA sponsored but run by Motorsport Australia, to try and demonstrate that there is plenty of potential for girls and women in Australian motorsport. We actually don't have anywhere near enough female participation in the whole of the sport, let alone supercars here in Australia. And it's something, as many of you know, I'm a bit emotional about it now, but I've lost my daughter to America, which pisses me off no end. But bloody shame. Anyway, but she was a massive instigator in the Girls on Track set up in Australia, and it's to be valued. It's something which there's a lot of school and university participation in, and I'd encourage you to look at that, potentially to see what you might like doing, whether it's on an admin side or a mechanic or an engineer or whatever. There's a lot of scope for women, because you guys are massively underrepresented in our sport.
Hi, I'm Beck. Thank you for being here. Gunther and Paddy in particular, I want to know your thoughts on Andretti Racing getting knocked back for F1.
Ooh. Gunther, can we start with you, please, sir?
All the difficult questions start with me, so thanks for that. I think Andretti is trying to get into Formula One. In the moment, it's very difficult to get into Formula One. The sport in the last 5 years has moved on a lot from where it was before. Financially, interest of people. There is so many people which want to get into Formula One now. We don't even know about it. And Andretti applied for it. They got a license from the FIA. But FOM, which is the promoter of the sport, they feel like there is no need for an 11 team in the moment, because the sport is in a very good place, and adding teams maybe weakens the 10 teams which are there, so maybe don't achieve anything. And they've got a good reasoning behind this, and therefore they said to Andretti, wait until GM is ready in 28, I think, with their engine, and come in as a works team. I think that was the latest what they said, and that's my opinion as well, because it's no point to add people and then weaken the other ones. And you ask, why are the other ones getting weaker? Because what is there needs to be shared by more people, you know, and the 10 teams which are in now, they have invested huge amounts of money to take the sport where it is now, and now, obviously, they are not really happy to have to share it by more, but the teams actually do not have a vote in this, you know, the teams cannot be blamed for this. This is FOM, which is the promoter managing Formula One, the business of it, and they said we don't want to take that risk. To have Formula One in the future by making a choice now, getting it weaker maybe in 2, 3, 4 years. So they said, let's wait until we do this and see how it goes. But they haven't closed the door completely to Andretti. They offered up, you can come in 28 when GM is ready, because General Motors is planning, or they applied to make a powertrain for Formula One. And when everything is ready, you come in as a works team.
Paddy, your thoughts, please.
I mean, firstly, it'd be great to have the Andretti team one way or the other, but really reflect, I can't add so much beyond what Gunter said. Formula One is a very expensive, very complex industry now, unlike, say, 30 years ago, where relatively easily to come in as a new team and produce a car that was respectable in performance. That step is incredibly difficult now. Huge amount of technology you've got to find and adopt. And I think by default, in a way, Formula One has moved a lot more to a kind of franchise model where, you know, there are 10 teams and you want to come in, you know, that's your platform is via one of those 10. But, you know, who knows how it turns out.
Thank you both. So you've been extremely patient. Thank you. Far away.
That's okay. Hello, my name's Adrian, and a local Adelaidean. Gunter, one thing I'd like to say, thank you for everything you've done for the sport. You've really drawn me in, and I'm sure millions of other people, for your personality and your love and your dedication. I saw a clip a few years ago which really detailed, I guess, the relationship between Nico and K-Mag. And K-Mag said a couple of things that were quite derogatory to Nico. My question is, and hopefully this will be a lot easier for you, is what was it like managing those two personalities? We know that two drivers in one team, they are the competitors. They race against each other under the team umbrella. What was it like for you having to manage two people whose relationship, I guess, really didn't like each other?
Teammates, I always think they need to be competitive. As long, what I always tell them, you need to respect each other. You do not need to be friends. And I think that is also not good for the team if they get too close together, too much friendly with each other. They don't push each other. But there needs to be respect. And I think between racing drivers in general, when you end up in a team for the right reasons, because you are very good, you need to respect the other guy in the other car. And always, if you are slower than him, it's a challenge for me. I'm not defeated. I want to get better than you, but with respect, I try to see the good things he does. I mean, this race car has got so much data. You just need to sit down and see what the other guy is doing better and try to do it as well. Sometimes you don't achieve it, but you at least need to try. And I always tell guys, you don't need to be friends. I am not asking you to go out for dinner together, you know, because, but you need to have respect, you know. Do not tell the other guy, I call it lies or not the truth, not even lies, you know, just try to distract him. No, don't do that. Be open about it. But if you don't want to be friends, fine with me, you know. Once off the racetrack, you don't need to call each other. I don't demand that. But while you're racing, respect each other out on the track and when you develop the car, because you're just another member of the team.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the closing of our Team Principals chat. Please join me in thanking Gunter Steiner, Paddy Lowe and Roland Dane.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody, and thanks for having given the opportunity to be here, and thanks for your very enthusiastic crowd here in Adelaide. And I think I can speak for all three of us. We love it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.